And we're recording. Hi, everybody. My name is Daniel Martin Peixe, and we're gonna do a little live stream today. We're just gonna go freestyle. We're just gonna go with the flow and try to come up with something. Uh, and the starting point today, I would like to be the word hope for the I think it's the prompt for today's Inktober. So I had this first idea of bringing up oh, hang on, oh yeah, of doing maybe a Princess Leia in a cool pose, like an action pose or something like that, and just have that as the hope uh, image, right? So let's see if
And if there's time at the end, you could do use Yari's technique and add some distortion as if it was a projection.
oh,
With the grab tool. No, just kidding.
I don't think I'm
Gonna get.
Yeah, we're gonna try to go for something like that, something quick and easy to do. And I like this. I like this one because it has like two tone kind of thing. And also I was thinking to just do this with a two tone, like only black and white, keeping it simple, and hopefully keeping it in time because we don't have a lot of time. As you see, I already have prepared some images, but I was completely open to suggestions, and if people think of something else to add or whatever, we can just add it on the go. But I think this could be a good representation of how I work as well. Like if some people are new to VR painting and VR animation, I'm not gonna probably animate this. It's gonna be just a character modeling. But if people are curious, this is probably a good stream to watch because I'm gonna just start from scratch and see what comes out of it.
You already
No,
have the sidekick from last time. Instead of Jar Jar Binks, you have Jarur, or what his name was.
actually, I can bring him in maybe and do a striking pose too. So, yeah, let's see. I really like this kind of deal, but maybe I want to have a little more actiony pose. So maybe I'm just gonna start with something like that. You know what? The reference, I'm gonna just put it all in one layer, in one folder. Sorry. The reason why is sometimes I like to move it to a side, and it's just better for me to draw with nothing on the background. It's just better sometimes for me. So, all right, I want something like uh, what can we do here? Just I like this one too. This the attitude there. Let's see, what can we do? I haven't done quill in such a long time.
Like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you have the count. Goro's keeping track of me.
No, but I
uh,
understand. It feels like a long time, right? Like if you take a break, even if I take a break for like 2 days, it feels like an eternity.
yeah, it's been a while, man.
But
But
you know what I
yeah,
tried last time was interesting. In my portrait piece, right? The one I did before I started the Inktober's, the guy with the glasses, the the little head that I did. I tried something new because I always watch you do the drawing first, right? And then I usually start with volumes right away. But what I tried when I did the head design, the character, I drew it actually in 2D, like not even 2.5D.
oh yeah,
The face from the front view, and then I bulged it out with the with the grab tool. and it turns out like you maintain exactly the same look that way, right? So basically, I painted flat, and then I made it 3D after the fact,
Yes.
and I was surprised how well it works because I think kind of tend to draw kind of 2.5D, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah. At the beginning, yes, I'm trying to
yeah,
do something that's more similar to regular sketching, drawing.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was watching Jama Yurabayev how he builds his spaceships and stuff like that in Gravity Sketch. You know, where he sketches everything in 2D first, and
who's
then he
this?
uses the Jama Yurabayev. He's like a 3D, 2D concept artist, 3D amazing 3D
Oh, yeah,
modeler as
yeah. I
well.
think I know. I think I know who you
Yeah,
mean. Yeah.
and he's also like a super strong VI evangelist, and like he does Gravity Sketch a lot, and it was interesting to see his workflow, how he draws in 2D first, and then he basically extrudes the 2D shapes out, and like duplicates it and makes it 3D. And I was like, maybe it works also for an organic character, and it was weird that I never thought of it that way over the years. But watching you draw, like doing these 2.5D drawings, I was like, okay, how about I just draw it in 2D completely flat, and then build it out. It was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. It's also a way for me to just bring the idea first and then think about how to model it later. So
Yeah,
it's like I feel like it's two different parts of my brain
yeah. You
because
can separate the technical part from the creative part, right?
exactly, yeah. So I don't when I do this, I don't think about the three dimensions. I don't think about the technical. Does it need to be 3D or no? I don't really um, think about that so much. I think about the drawing, the sketch,
Yeah,
the the personality or the acting or whatever it is. Uh, and I don't get distracted by, oh, how many strokes do I need, or I'm gonna optimize this. Okay, I don't think about any of this stuff, right? I just think about the
and that's
actual.
kind of how I also approached Last Oasis, right? Because there was one of the first projects that ran on Quest, and like it was the exact same reason where I started thinking about, oh, how do I make it like super low poly, but then I started losing the creative juice, so I decided to just focus on design first,
Yeah,
paint it the way I want, and then I reconstructed everything. And I think this is kind of like the similar approach.
yeah. I recommend doing that if you come from a drawing background, if you have experience drawing, and you jump into quill and you're completely lost in this 3D world. It's so hard to wrap your head around. A lot of people told me that it's really exciting, but they find it really hard to draw in 3 dimensions. I say it's a lot of practice. I won't say it's easy. It's yeah, it takes a while, but think about the time when you're drawing with a chalk on live drawing. A lot of times you have this massive piece of paper on this easel, right? And the easel is almost like vertical, right? It's not even on a table. It's almost you know. So you draw standing up, and you have normally in my art school that's what we do. You have a stand. You're standing up, and you have this easel, and you have this chalk. No, how do you call it? Charcoal. Sorry, charcoal.
Charcoal, yeah.
Sorry. Um,
You can use chalk if you want.
no, no, no. Yeah, chalk is yeah. On the chalkboard, you do
Yeah.
the same. You basically do the same on a chalkboard, right? You have to stand up and you have to draw with your arm in the air, basically, and then you lean your hand on the chalkboard, so that is the friction point. So your hand doesn't go any further, right? And the same with charcoal drawing. You're standing up and you have the model in front of you. So I had some years of practice doing that when I was in school, And drawing in quill is very similar to that because your arm is also floating in the air. It's not leaning on a table. It's just
Yeah,
very different.
imagine you had quill when you were at school, right? Like imagine you had that back then. It would be so crazy because I think, like I think one important thing about the traditional approach, like you said, with charcoal, paper, and canvas, real canvas, is that you learn perspective. And,
Oh yeah,
because in quill, you get perspective for free,
for free.
right?
Yeah, you
It's
don't have
already
to learn
there.
it.
So, yeah.
You don't
So
have to learn it.
I think the cool thing about it is like if you do know perspective, then you can actually use it to your advantage in Quill, where you kind of break the perspective, right? You intentionally like let things converge harder than it does naturally in Quill. So you can create like those forced perspectives and scenes and stuff like that, which I love doing, where you manipulate actual reality or virtual reality, right? Where you can push the boundaries even more, which is like super interesting. But
Yeah, like the stuff they did on Soul Island with the force.
totally,
That
yeah,
was
totally,
such an amazing thing that they did, uh, doing that kind of lens effect.
yeah, and the vertigo, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny when I did the head drawing that I did before October, I actually now had trouble to draw two dimensionally. Just because I had the touch controller in my hand, my hand tries to move through space. It was really like I
Yeah.
had to restrict my hand from using the z-axis, which was interesting because before I you was using quill, it was the exact opposite, right? Like your brain tries to stay in a 2D plane, and now
Yes.
I had trouble to keep it in a 2D plane. It's
Yes.
interesting.
Actually, yesterday I showed the Oculus Quest to a friend of mine who works at DreamWorks, an animator. Well, he's a supervising animator. Actually, he's a really experienced guy, and yeah, he really wanted to try VR. He's never tried it before, and he wanted to draw with. I had Tilt Brush installed in my Quest, and he tried
Yeah.
it, and oh my god, he was fascinated by it. He loved it, and I saw him draw. And yeah, like you said, your brain is so used to the 2D that he couldn't he was drawing and he was that, but he could not go on a 2D plane.
I know.
He was always staying on that the two dimensions. He would never thought about, okay, let's draw this arm in a third dimension. He would never think about that, and it was so fascinating, like how hard it is for the brain to get used to that. And I did the same mistakes when I started working, when I started painting in VR and with tilt brush as well. So I think this is already good enough as a sketch.
Save it.
Oh yeah, shit. See, that's why I want you to always be in the stream.
It's a super cool pose already.
Uh,
It's awesome.
uh, let's see, where do I go? Let's save it on my Quill files. Whatever. All right. What am I doing? Okay. Um. Okay. So now I have this, and I want to go a little bit caricature. I want to go like realistic proportions. So I made her head a little bigger than normal, and I kind of like that kind of a little bit of a stylization. The hard thing on this is gonna be the dress. The dress is quite challenging. Well, I'll find a way. I think with just a ellipse brush should be
Also, I
possible.
think in this case, the black and white will help, right?
Yeah, because I'm gonna cheat a lot. And that's gonna
Yeah,
be a
you
lot.
can cheat a lot with lines.
Yeah. So in order to do this black and white, it's kind of tricky with her because her dress is already white. So it's gonna
Well,
be
you
a
can
little.
make the background. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna start with a darker background, so it's easier to start filling out the volumes. And the sketch normally I would reduce it a little bit of the reduce the opacity a little bit, so it doesn't, so I can always see it. Uh, okay, let's see how we can get this started. Oh yeah, wireframe is now I'm not in sketching mode. Now I'm gonna switch my brain to more practical or 3D modeling mode, right?
More mobile optimization mode too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about the legs could be a little. I think the legs could be a little longer. Let me do a quick. This is what I love about the sketching with Quill. You just do a change very quickly, and boom, the legs are a little longer now. Uh, it's just so fun to be able to do this. I mean, you can do something like that with Liquify in Photoshop. Yeah, you can do this kind of stuff in 2D drawing a little bit. Just a little adjustments of the sketch. But in Quill with the grab tool, it's just so much more fun because it's immediate and it's 3 dimensions as well. You're not just deforming in a 2D plane. You're setting
And
up a
there's something magical about the tactileness of it too, because it feels like you're actually grabbing it and moving it, right? Versus like
yeah.
using a mouse or using a pen to pull tangents of the warp tool or to liquefy with a pen. It's different. It just feels more tactile and more, I guess, closer to the content you're creating, right? So.
Bro,
Yeah.
get this. Imagine Michelangelo had these tools in his hands. He would have gone crazy with this. We're being, what is this undo button? What? Like, it would have blown everyone's mind in the Renaissance. Yeah.
Yeah, man, totally. I mean, Walt Disney himself, right? He always loved new technology. He always up for trying new things and everything. The whole multiplane camera,
Yeah.
that was
Also,
pioneer.
iWorks.
Up
iWorks
iWorks,
was
he was the one
he
who,
was all about that. He was all about
yeah,
coming up with new ideas on how to do stuff. Like
new
more so than
technology.
animation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
new
I was
technology.
just I was just watching the Disney Plus Imagineering series,
Oh
which is
yeah,
like,
did you like it?
yeah, it's like, you've seen over the years, you've seen so much about Imagineering and stuff, but like there's a lot of, it's so detailed, it's so cool, and the amount of robotics he built and stuff, it's just like insane,
Yeah, man.
fascinating.
Yeah, I love that stuff because you know, he really wanted to push the medium and just go for more immersion and more. That's what. Yeah, that's why.
I mean, yeah, it's actually close to VR what he was doing with the early Disney parks, right? It's
Yeah,
actually
man.
like it's full circle now, basically.
He would have loved this time now. He would have. Oh my god, go crazy with VR. I'm pretty sure. Uh, but yeah, I guess we are. We have to be the pioneers too. We have to enjoy this moment
Yay!
and also come up with ideas and you know
Yeah. Absolutely.
try to get
I
the
made
most out of
a
it.
short film for a competition. A group in Cardiff does something called Cardiff Animation Nights, and they also handle the Cardiff Animation Festival every year. And
Oh,
they
I'm
made
gonna
a.
be. Yeah, is it
You're gonna be on that.
is it called come oh, forgot the name now.
What, the Cardiff Animation Nights?
Capcom, is that the one?
Capcom? I don't know what that is. Is that
I'm
the video game company?
yeah, it sounds similar to that. I'm gonna participate on this festival called Capcom. and it's on
Capcom.
yeah, it's on Island.
Oh, okay. No, that's ways away. That's a whole different island within, in
Oh,
the
I
area of
thought.
the UK.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought you were saying.
Uh,
Oh,
no, but
Cardiff.
Cardiff is
Okay.
in Wales.
Oh
Cardiff is
yeah,
in
yeah.
Wales.
Sorry about that.
So
Yeah,
essentially,
nothing to do.
yeah. So essentially, the challenge was to make a 48 hour, a short film in 48 hours. And a friend of mine invited me to work on that with him, and I made the backgrounds animated in Quill, and
Cool.
they animated the characters in 2D, and it was an absolute um, brain smudge because people don't know what to make of it. It's like, is it 2D? Is it 3D? What is going on? Why is that smoke moving? Like it's in 3D, but it looks painted. What is this?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. What? I mean, if they don't know the tool, they freak out.
yeah.
It's like, what is this stuff?
I
Yeah, a
think
lot
once
of.
they realize that I worked on it, they'll be like, okay, because they know some of the people that organized that worked with me on the University of South Wales.
Hmm.
So once they see my name, it's like, he's at it again, because they know that I do VR animation.
Oh yeah.
So they'll be like, of course he is. Of course he's doing this stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be released at some point. So I'll probably put the links up on the show and tell.
Awesome.
Yeah. Uh, uh.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. And yeah, and people see you as a pioneer. Like, oh, you're the crazy guy who's doing VR, and I'm like, yep. They say like it's a bad thing before, and then you realize no, it's not a bad thing. It's actually it's actually really cool. I get to be the first at doing something, or one of the first, or
You know what though? When Van Eyck created like the first realistic oil painting in the Netherlands, like when oil started to pick up, because he was doing it before it was cool, right? So he was tout, yeah, he was a bit of a hipster when it came to oil painting. Uh, yeah, he was like accused of being a necromancer because he said that he like had communion with the dead in order to be able to paint in that way, like that realistically, because before then there was nothing. Um, I can't imagine what would happen if he showed up doing some sort of animation, making something moves like what? Burn!
sorcery. Yeah.
Sorcery. Thinking about it though, we're making dead things move, so in theory, we're necromancers, right?
If you
Because
say so.
pixels are dead things. It's not alive, and then we're making it come
They
to life. So
they seem alive.
yeah, the
We make
illusion
it
of life, isn't it? So yeah.
the illusion of life. Yeah, it seems like
But
it's
I'm pretty
alive.
sure we would burn in the stake if this was the Middle Ages.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
You're 23 minutes in,
yeah. Oof,
Neil.
the pressure.
Oof.
That takes us right into Halloween territory now, because talking about burning in the stake like a witch and things like that, and necromancy, that's seems appropriate. That and pumpkin spice on everything. Putting pumpkin spice on everything, drinks, chews. You know,
Yeah.
Did you
Have
just
you
say
guys
pumpkin
done
spice
any?
shoes?
Hmm?
Thought you said pumpkin spice shoes.
I don't know, mate. Pumpkin spice goes well with everything.
It really does though. Like
Yeah.
I mocked it at first. I'm like, this is a bit much, but then I was like, I'll try it, and I'm like, yeah, this should be year round. Honestly,
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to kind of say some good news. Because I don't know, I think some of you knew that I was working on a film using Unreal and Quill as well as Maya stuff. I think I probably talked about it. So I got some funding to finish it. Some serious funding actually. So
Cool.
I am beside myself with joy. So yeah, I'm gonna give more details later on because I still like finalizing some details, but it's a done deal.
Cool, man.
Nice.
There you go,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. Also, it's really good because I'm almost finished with it. I have like 4 or 5 shots to finish. And I've been working on this film for a year now. Like it will be a year this coming November. But I was also teaching and also doing freelance work at the same time. That's why it took so long because with Quill, I was doing a lot of progress like really quickly, but at the same time I was doing other stuff, so I couldn't finish it earlier. And it's a good thing because because the application for the funding took a long time. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
That's so cool, man. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think I shared a trailer on the Discord at some point. But yeah, I'll give you guys more information. Also, because I may uh, just to make show another trailer like with a bit more information about the film as well. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Although I don't want to give too much away because the film is going to be like 3 minutes and 45 or 3 minutes and
Is it
25 seconds.
yourself or a team of people?
The thing is, that's the thing. I had to do it all by myself because I had no money to pay for people. I had the equipment, Maya, Unreal, Quill, uh, and I've done all of it, and except the music, because the music is by a Swedish like band. It's a website like that I get the music and the sounds from, but they have like a lot of professionally made music. So it's just gonna be the length of a song. So it's kind of like a music video. Um, but I applied for the funding in February, and because Corona hit right after, um, everything went down. And they said, okay, once you applied, we'll get back to you in 3 months. And then 3 months came, and 4 and 5, and nothing. I was like, oh shit. And then I wrote back to him. It's like, oh, right, yeah. We have your application here. We'll get back to you. And then 2 more months came in, and then they said, yeah, you got the money. We'll get back to you for a date with the payment. But yeah, you got it, bro. It's like, yes.
Dude,
And I was like, yeah, I have 90% of the film done, but yeah, that's probably another conversation we're gonna have to have about stuff.
about
But
making
yeah,
a living doing VR. That
yeah, it's gonna
that's
be so it's
another.
it's gonna be mostly done. The film is mostly it's about 60% Quill and well the character animation, but because the sets are CG scanned objects. Um, I think if you go on show and tell, you can see the trailer. You can see what it is. But yeah, it's just wanted to share that with you guys because you guys been a constant source of inspiration,
Oh,
like
thanks,
all of
man.
you.
Yeah, this server is so cool. I
Yeah,
love to come here and get inspired and see what people do.
yeah.
Maybe it's gonna be a little thinner on the. All right. The hardest thing to do is the hands. I think that's more or less. It's hard also to make them look good in all directions. That's the challenging part of hands. Also, that they normally don't look so good from all the directions. You have to do a little bit of anatomy work as well to make sure that they look okay from every angle. But once you have one hand, you can just always mirror it. And a good idea would be to have hands already pre-built in a separate quill scene and imported, because every time I have to do hand, I think about the same. Like, why do I have to create this thing every time? Um, but it's okay. I will do it someday. I will just do a generic hand and just and reuse it for because it doesn't take that much to just import a file. shouldn't take that much. But for some reason, I never do it. I always go for. Okay, so now since I build it this way, I can always repose it and have a different pose in this hand. For posing, you notice I'm not using the grab tool right now because I don't want to right now to break the geometry too much. I think it's more convenient to pose it this way, just selecting and moving. Um, because grab tool tends to really break the geometry a lot. So I use it only in some specific areas where you actually have no more option to do that.
Do you ever do one side first, and like for example, you finish the hand in black and white with all the lines and stuff, and then you
Yeah, I
duplicate a
should have
mirror?
done. I should have done that.
Because I
Yeah.
mean, that's especially like for the Inktober, that's usually my workflow. Just to save time, I only do half of the body, but I finish it and then I duplicate it and mirror it, because that way, you know, you already have all the outlines and stuff like that. And,
I feel like
all,
the outlines are gonna be slightly different on each hand depending on. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But
Yeah.
then already have a foundation to work with. You know, sometimes it's faster that way. I realized.
Yeah. The outlines. I think I realize it's much better to make them after you have your foundation.
Yeah.
Um, I'm doing two different tones for the dress right now because otherwise it's gonna be confusing. And then
Yeah,
later,
that's something I do too. Like, you know, the background, I make it darker so I can actually see what I'm doing, and then later on, you just change it, right?
yeah, let's see. I didn't plan for this to do two tones, so it's
You
gonna
can
be.
always make 3.
I can always do gray,
Yeah.
like the rain scene that I did. This has grays tones, black and white gray, so you can at least play a little bit more.
That is actually something you really did, right? To sit outside and do sketching, like
Oh yes,
for random
yeah,
people.
that's based on a real story actually.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For people who didn't know,
How much did you get? £5 per drawing?
yes, I was doing £5 per drawing and
Oh, that's
10
classic
minutes.
London.
10 minutes. So I would try
Wow.
to do as many as I could.
Was that
But
terrifying?
yes,
Like, because sometimes you see like generic people, right, that you can't really draw, like what is their distinctive feature and stuff. And then did you have like kind of a default head that you would refer
well, that's the
to?
challenge. That's the challenge of caricature, and maybe I could do a talk about caricature specific. But it's the challenge of caricature is looking at the at people's faces and figuring out what's different about them that and that nobody else has. Or how is this face compared to standard boring face? You know, like how does that different from a regular uh,
And I think it's like
I don't know how to explain it.
variable levels, right? Sometimes it's like super easy to see, you know, and sometimes it's like
Yeah,
really hard because like somebody has like a near perfect face, you
yeah,
know.
exactly. The more perfect the face of the person is, the harder it is to make a fun of it. Because the idea is just to make fun of this person's features. I mean, let's be real about it. I mean, some people want to be super nice with the caricatures and they want to be not mean. I don't want to be mean or something.
Yeah, I
But
had a
that
coworker. All her caricatures, they look very flattering and pretty. And then
exactly.
there's another one like you guys might know Lindsay Olivares. She's an excellent production designer slash caricature artist. But yeah, hers are like she destroys you, but with charm. You know, so it's really
Yeah,
really. I love her stuff.
Yeah, I love that stuff too. I mean, it's to me that's the essence of a caricature. Like you have to not destroy like in a super mean way, and I don't mean that, but I mean to be able to saturate and stylize features
Embrace the differences.
and embrace the difference from a regular face. Like, and what's the regular face? Well, if you get into this classic sculpture, you see these faces, that are completely bland and perfect, and everything's proportion. All these things, uh, these perfect proportions and all that shit. So that's we try to use that as a, well, at least I try to use that as a, okay, how is the face of this person different from the super regular boring structure, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody has the perfect boring features. Even the most handsome or supermodels, they always have something that's specific to them.
Well,
And so,
unless you start shaving your jaw for surgery, and
yeah, but
you know,
those people, yeah, that those people, they start to not look like people anymore when they
yeah,
do all
it's
the.
more like those mannequin
Yeah,
dolls in the shopping
exactly.
centers. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at a Barbie, for example, a Barbie doll, it tries to be so perfect that it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It
It,
goes
it,
into uncanny valley territory.
uncanny valley territory, yeah, because it tries to have this perfect features and perfect size, what's considered beauty or whatever. Um, but that tends to be super boring and it loses personality, and it doesn't look like a person anymore. It looks like a doll or like a creepy thing. So yeah, and that's what I like about caricature is you highlight the personality of people by having these features kind of more exaggerated. But that's another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love doing it in the street. It gives you this edge of how fast can I draw, how fast can I do this. It's a little bit of a challenge.
Was that in Mallorca, or where did you do that?
That's in London. I did it in London,
Oh, in
just
London. Okay.
just like the drawing, yeah. And also in London, I did wedding caricatures,
Oh.
which is kind of an interesting job because it's like you become the photographer, but instead of doing photographs, you're drawing people.
Hmm.
So people kind of line up and like, okay, it's my turn.
Oh, at a wedding?
At a wedding, yeah, in
Oh,
London.
that's strange. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I think that's the my most British experience in my life.
That's crazy. I've seen
Yeah,
people doing that on events. When I was in uni, I was working on an event on
yeah,
the events department in one of the Marriott hotels, and I
yeah.
saw people like a couple of artists doing that on corporate events, like
Yes,
Christmas
yes, yes.
parties and things like that. I was like, this is insane,
Yeah,
and I couldn't put myself on that situation because I've never been confident enough to say, okay, I'll do this in like 10 minutes. I'm like, nah, that's not that's not good.
yeah. It requires a
That's
little.
not. I can't do that.
Yeah, it does require a little. Yeah, confidence and practice,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. But at the same time, I
For
was super excited doing that. What is
40
it?
minutes in, Daniel. 40 minutes, and don't forget to save every now and then.
Yeah, yeah, 40
And depending on
minutes.
how far you go, we
We
could
we
potentially think of a two-part. I don't know if you're
I
open
can
to it,
just
but
go over an hour, right? We have
yeah,
done
that's true. Yeah,
we have we've done other streams that
just
are,
just keep going.
yeah, try to
The
keep
longest
going.
the longest one was 2 hours, I think, so far.
Yeah, once I have the basic structure, it's gonna be
The
much.
rest is faster, right? Yeah.
It's gonna be faster, and the face is gonna be faster because I'm planning to go pretty simple with that with the face. I don't want to do like a super complex thing.
This is our 28th stream, you guys.
Oh yeah,
Pretty
we're
amazing. Approaching 30 streams, almost like a month worth of content.
Is something exciting going to happen on the 30th stream? Please say yes.
I don't
It's
know.
like 30th anniversary.
We
Oh,
should.
we don't plan this as much
should-
as you think we do.
yeah.
Yeah,
At least I don't plan.
it's always like the
Yeah,
day
no.
before
Yeah,
somebody jumps in administration.
sometimes
Yeah.
we're like, we don't have anything for today, Daniel.
Help.
Can you do something? Or Goro, freestyle, lighting.
Yeah.
The
It's really cool that you
the
guys.
particle one you almost improvised, like, well, not improvised, like you prepared it right away, pretty fast. I remember.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was like, oh, I can do something with particles, but yeah, I like to have some structure, but sometimes it's difficult. The particle one went really well, I think, but
Oh yeah.
for the freestyle session, I love the spontaneous factors of it too. Where, like, for example, the one you did about the character was amazing. Like how the character comes together through contributions that we basically give you, input, and then it's funny how that comes
Yeah,
together.
I wanted to do
Yeah.
something similar today, but I don't think there's gonna be time to to change the idea now. I'm already
Yeah.
set up with this character.
That's
It's not
good.
gonna.
It's
That's,
it's it's fascinating to see you. Like I kind of like work very similarly like you right now
yeah.
with that with that brush, the same brush, and then I use the grab tool to wrap it around things. It's so fun to grab that stroke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it stretches so nicely.
Yeah. Depends on how it's constructed, right? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But I love that part to stretch that brush, and bend it around. It's super fun.
Let's see this face, a little puffy face. A little. I'm gonna make her seem a little younger than what she really is. Um. Oh, I'm excited to do this too. Actually, the buns. It's just one stroke. Let's, yeah, we can go pretty dark, right?
Unless you do two tones. But
Yeah, I think I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna go with gray too.
that's fine.
If I have to, I don't know. Well, let's see. Once I put the lines on, maybe there's a chance in there. But for example, for the buns, I can't have black lines on top of black because it won't read. So
Yeah,
the buns need to be. But then, if you look at this, they cleverly did this highlight. So maybe I could do that too, instead of lines, just having some highlights in it.
I think you did that in the Conan piece, right?
Yes, I did the highlights on his hair.
Yeah, that worked really well, actually. It's like the Conan piece was black and white, right? There was no gray.
No grace, no. But what I did is really imitate the style of this guy, the Buscema, and I had one of his drawing as a base,
Reference. Yeah.
as a reference, and I copied the style right away, and I did the shadows the same way he did the shadows. So that was a lot of help to get that. But the challenging part was to do it in 3D, obviously, in
Yeah.
VR, because
I was surprised, really surprised how well it works from all angles. Like
yeah,
even like when you go behind him, you have like almost his whole body in shadow, I believe, and it still reads because you have the silhouette and you have the lines on the body and stuff. So your brain kind of fills in the gaps.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was using the fact that it's a shadow on the back, and
Yeah,
that will give me the option to cheat and kind of pretend that the line work is also a shadow. I don't know if, like, for example, if I do this,
yeah.
put it. black.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I take it a little bit further, it kind of looks like a line,
Yeah.
like a drawing line, and it looks really cool, really clean. Like somebody drew this really clean, and then when you turn around, it's the shadow. So that's what I did in the Conan, and
Yeah.
I could do it here too. I don't know. Let's see.
I think so.
Let me finish with the structure first. As you can see, the process is very meticulous. The process that I'm using is I'm trying to get the structure first, and then later I will do the actual lines, right? Like the drawing lines, the contour.
Pinocchio.
Yeah, I'm gonna go really simple with her face. I'm not gonna really complicate too much.
Not like your face tutorial.
No, not not this time around.
I think that's the cool thing about like when you do the two tones or three tones with lines, because the lines can inform the volume that is actually not there, right? So
Yeah.
it's a cheat, but it works really well.
Maybe for the eyebrow, maybe it's gonna be flat. No. And then the eye. Yeah, the eye is just gonna be one stroke, just like the buns. Let's put it in there.
You can tell those buns were a product of the 70s. That's so 70s.
Yeah, totally, man.
So iconic though.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
the whole
I love
movie,
Star Wars.
the whole Star Wars is filled with iconic, really simple shapes. Like the
Yeah.
beginning of the first movie, all you see is this planet, and then it's a circle, and then suddenly it's a triangle, the Star Destroyer,
Oh yeah, totally.
and it's like,
Funny
oh,
enough,
okay,
it's one of the most influential shots in sci-fi history. Like that beginning of
yeah,
Star Wars, how it
yeah,
starts.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's yeah, from the get go, they established this idea of, okay, we're gonna use shapes here. We're gonna use shape language in a big way, and even down to the details of the buns. It's just a shape language that you recognize immediately. Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
it's so cool. It's a lot of learning to be had with these movies, with the first ones especially. The last ones, I don't know. You can learn how not to do a
uh oh,
script.
oh gosh. To be fair,
Some
I
people love
think,
them. I mean, I like Force
yeah, but
Awakens a
no,
lot. Force Awakens is my favorite of the three, the last ones.
Same here.
yeah.
A
The
lot
But
Force
of people
Awakens to
then,
me
complained,
is,
they didn't try something new, but I was like, thank God they didn't try something new.
yeah, yeah.
if
It
I'm, if
felt
I'm
really good.
broke,
The fact,
if I'm broke, don't fix it.
yeah. It felt really good to see the growth of these characters after so many years. It felt really, really, really good to see them, like old Han Solo and old Leia and Luke, and well, I kind of just you can only see Luke at the end, I think, but all of that, it felt really, really good.
Yeah.
Like meeting up with an old friend you haven't seen in years.
Yes, something like that. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But then the rest of them happened.
I really liked
Um,
Rogue One. Rogue One was really
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
strong.
yeah. Pretty serious
That's
movie. I haven't seen
probably one
Solo
of my
though.
favorite Star Wars ones.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
new ones, right? I also liked there's also like mixed opinions about it, but for me Solo actually worked too. Like I really liked the production design
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
A lot of
I haven't
people
seen
hate.
it.
A lot of people hate it, but I actually enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it too. Yeah,
I do
but
know that
a
there's
lot
an
of people also hated Force Awakens. I loved it. But,
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of very divided opinions on these movies.
Episode 1, 2, 3, I think it's more unanimously hated.
I heard there's
What
a
was
new.
that?
Surprisingly-
Jar Jar Binks, man.
I heard there's a new wave
You know.
now. of People who really appreciate it now. The
Yeah,
Although
that's
honestly,
weird.
like
Real
episode
growth.
1, I actually back then when it first came out, I have to say I did enjoy it, especially because of the pod racing and stuff. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Well, I did enjoy it a lot because I was hungry for a Star Wars movie,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like everybody else, after 20 years or something like that, right?
yeah.
Or I don't know how many years was it.
And then came 2 and 3, and that was a bit more painful for me, for sure.
I don't
Yeah,
know
we
if
all
I'm
like
doing
to
this
hate
right
on
or
like Kid Anakin Skywalker, but we went there in droves and we devoured that shit. We devoured the movie.
I
Yeah.
revisited Phantom Menace kind of recently, and it's like I remember not liking it as a kid because it bored me, but I came back actually liking it a little bit more now that I understood what was going on. Like it still got so much campy dialogue and just kind of
Yeah.
goof scenes that take up too much time, but like the Duel of Fate scene and just like actually getting to see Qui-Gon do some stuff, and I don't know, Liam Neeson's performance was pretty cool. I
Yeah.
liked it way more than I remember, and I'm like, this is a unique turn because it went from being probably my least favorite to one of my favorites of the prequels.
Well, have you
Episode
guys
3
watched
still is
Clone
super great.
Wars? If you guys watch Clone Wars, it fills in a lot of the blanks that the movies don't have.
I
And
used
it
the
to-
just
animated
builds
series?
like a really great universe. Just like I love the Clone Wars.
the
It's
TV show.
really awesome. Yeah, the 3D animated.
They released a new season recently, didn't they? Or they're in the
Yes,
process
and
of it.
it's so good.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Was
Yeah, it was very cinematic looking, so it feels a lot different from the previous seasons. It's worth a watch. You guys should watch it. It's really, really nicely done.
I remember watching it when I was I think I was in like grade school still. It was on Cartoon Network, and I remember they're like, "Yeah, new season coming out. Be sure to watch it." And I remember looking at the trailers for it, and like it stepped up its like production quality like crazy.
Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah.
it kind of like really caught me off guard because I remember there was a scene with like Darth Maul going into a fight, and I'm like, "Holy, that was really cool looking.
Yeah.
This isn't just your run of the mill
No,
like
it's
Cartoon Network
not.
series anymore."
Oh my god, please at least watch the new season. It's so well done.
you know, as a hybrid CG and VR animator, I feel I should watch it because it's a lot of like, especially the you know when it started. Because the thing is, there was a bit of a gap between the last season and the previous season, wasn't there?
Oh
Like,
yeah, huge gap.
a few
yeah.
years. But when it started, it was very advanced when it came to like CG, you know, in a serialized form. So it was kind of like one of those moments in which like CG started to kind of being used more broadly. I feel
Yeah.
maybe I don't know.
It's
Fucking
so
good,
good.
Daniel. Make
Alright,
sure to save.
Let's see.
Save, Daniel. Save.
Save.
Save it! Don't let it die.
All right.
Use the force, Daniel.
You're
Use the
almost
force.
at the hour, 6 minutes to 11, but we can go over. You're almost done anyway.
I'm almost done, right?
It's cute.
All right.
It looks really good, Daniel.
I actually like that you don't see the nose. It actually makes it look really cute.
Oh, really? I was gonna start with this. Actually, I was gonna start with the nose, having something in there. Just kind of a little bit of that, and then we can try to go two tone if we want. I don't know. It feels a little too much, right? Too bright.
How do we feel about the Mandalorian, though?
Oh, I
I
love
think
it,
it's
man.
amazing.
I love
Me
it.
too, yeah. Also,
I
Bill Burr
sadly
is in it.
haven't seen it.
Oh, really?
It's really good.
Yeah, because I'm a huge Marvel junkie. I'm waiting till probably WandaVision now because I was gonna be Falcon Winter Soldier first, but once WandaVision comes out, I'm probably gonna hop on the Disney Plus thing and then just slurp up all the content I've missed, which is essentially just Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian is pretty good.
I'm
Many
Probably the
people
really
most.
say,
impressed by the Disney originals. I'm like, when did they do all that? They came out with Disney Plus and they have all those amazing originals. It's like pretty
yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna be
impressive.
screwed actually
Oh yeah.
why?
because we we have to do a lot of content.
Well, and
Oh
now it's
yeah,
like Corona, right? So,
yeah.
Uh,
hey
yeah, I
Daniel,
mean,
for the nose shadow, a little quick. W- do you think like doing a little bit of shading with a few lines would make it less contrasty, the nose shadow?
yeah,
Instead
I'm
of
gonna.
doing like a duplication, you just do a few shading lines.
Yeah, I may change that. But first, let me tell you these hard shadows really help a lot if you want to get that two tone feel. So I'm gonna try to start with these hard shadows first and get that feeling of the dress first, right?
When you do this type of shading, do you think of more about design and silhouette versus, or do you think about light direction?
Really more the design.
Hmm,
Uh,
interesting.
and the light direction, I'm trying to keep it really simple, like a just a regular light that's hitting on the front, and that's
Studio
it.
light. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. And see if I can imitate this kind of shadow there. Mm, maybe it's gonna be something like that. If we want her to be on a very high contrast. So that's the thing. You kind of need to go high contrast if you want something two tone. Two tone is gonna be something that the light is so strong. It's create these really high contrast shadows. But I'm thinking that here we need something more defined.
The first time I saw Frazetta's style was in an Ivanhoe comic he made. It just blew my mind. Like, I also saw it when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and it just kind of like it's one of the things that kind of switched on the art in my brain. Like the idea of pursuing art was initially one of Frazetta's um, panels. So when you made the icon, it was like, oh my god, this takes me back.
See, I think I'm gonna try to do the same thing I did with the cone and just really darken the back of the character. So assuming that we have a light that's hitting in this direction more or less. So I'm trying to get that as my base lighting. So that will make it look more similar to that style. And in the case of the little thingies hanging, I duplicate them. I think that will give you. And then here in the middle, maybe I can start working on these ones here. Can have a little gradient. I think this one can be dark. And here I would love to do this really shadows, thick and thin lines. That's really gonna help to sell this idea of the clothing. And hopefully it will work well in 3D because the actual way that I constructed it kind of looks like folding these folds, right? You see those folds?
Yeah.
So that will hopefully make it work well when you turn around. Um, see that? I think that works really cool now. Those little this part should be a little darker, maybe. Just gonna get this. Yeah, I think I like this one. It'll be a little thicker. And this is the part where you can really do a lot of cheating to hide things. Yeah, something like that. And I use a lot the pressure on when you draw, the thick and thin press. That
To
really
get the
helps.
nice taper.
Yeah, I kind of try to release my finger in the right moment, you know. So kind of.
Yeah, you're really good at that, actually.
Sometimes I fake it and I do this. This is like a fake stroke. It seems like it was drawn right away, but it's not really. It's very planned, carefully planned. But in this case, I need it. I think I need this to be very specific instead of so improvised. Uh, yeah, these ones, they can be. I think this is the thing that sells the clothing a lot. When you have, well, for example, here, one line like that, and the other line goes like this, and the other line goes like that. I think this is a very
Flow of the draping, right? Like it's the how
this
it
is a cool
falls.
trick to get the feeling of clothing. Just get these lines to create a negative space line over here, right? That's something that I try to achieve sometimes. Okay, so the dress is gonna be pretty cool like that, I think. And we're gonna get some cool. Some darker areas here. What's this? I have to remember how I build this. This could be darker. I'm gonna put this on the surface. This is kind of the tricky thing about doing this kind of lines, to make them sit on a surface, right? Actually, I would like to maybe. I should have drawn the feet, and the feet are supposed to be white too. I'm gonna make them the same color as the. No, wait. Okay, whatever. Yeah, the drop shadow in this case is gonna help a lot on the floor. So I might just do that quickly. But first, let me just finish those feet a little bit. Yeah. Um, the drop shadow is gonna really help setting this. You guys still there?
Nice.
Oh, this is
Yes.
silence. Oh.
Yeah. People are just mesmerized.
And I would like to see the knee a little bit over there. So in order to do that, I'm gonna use those cylinders that I established at the beginning, and that's gonna be the knee. I want to make sure there's a sharp edge over there, so it feels like a knee. I'm just gonna use these other guys to cover all the area here. And maybe some of these guys can be useful for adding those shadows. Maybe, yeah. Let's try to do that. See what happens. I think that was, and the good thing about these shadows is they're already on the surface, so they do two functions. They cover all these gaps that I'm having here, and at the same time they paint this shadow to define the leg that's coming forward. Let's see if I can get something like that. I'm really inspired by the use of two tones in that drawing there, so I'm trying to imitate that a little bit. Just remember, guys, a good artist is a good stealer. You know, what was the phrase? You have to learn how to steal.
All good artists steal.
All good artists steal, well, something like that. I forgot the name of the word.
Yeah, I think it's good artists copy, great artists steal, or something.
Exactly, something like that. I forgot
Yeah.
how it was. I know there was a good saying. So I do that a lot. I try to get inspired by things that I think is gonna work, and still just enough for me for my piece, but also try to keep some sort of thing of my own, right? So it's not a total steal, but or at least it doesn't seem like a steal. You have to hide it as well. You have to be a little sneaky.
Well, you put your own flavor to it, you know.
I want this. You know what? Maybe I'll create a new one because I would like to have this curvature here between the two shadows. Let's see if that works. And then another one to connect with this other side, right? Also a little bit of curvature. A little bit of curvature over there. So it feels like they have these curves there. And maybe just a little bit of color change here. It's gonna repeat this. Actually, maybe it's better to have a circle in this case. I mean, a sphere. So when you turn around, you see
Nice.
those
It
little.
gets obscured. Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that I had to learn over the time working on Quill, because before on my first Quill scenes, I never did the turnaround. I never check if it looks good for all from all the
I,
angles.
I walked around your paint lines, guys. Funny.
Which one? Oh, the
When
painting
you
lines.
yeah, the painting lines when you walk around him and he distorts. It's funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. He doesn't look good from all the angles. But you know what? That's okay because that was a lot of learning that I did over the time.
I mean, that one was from 2000, what, 17? Something
Yeah,
like that.
it's
Yeah,
been a while.
yeah. I still like your Christmas animation though. Did like
Which one was it?
did you the Christmas the Santa with a jetpack? It was
Oh my
so
god,
good.
how long has been of that? It's been so long. It's crazy.
It's not questionable because I think you animated the set frame by frame, right?
Yeah, there was no transform keys, remember? And
That's
then
right.
I did
So it was like the whole set frame by frame.
I did duplicate animate transform or something like that.
Damn, and that's hardcore.
Oops.
But I love the animation. Like I remember that so vividly. The Santa when he turns on the jetpack and he goes crazy.
Uh, oh
Was
man, that
kind of like
that one
was
is
kind of like the one of the beginnings of your arrow shot. You know what you ended up using it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's not in Quill Theater that one. Maybe I should put
It
it.
can't be right because of the set.
I may have to optimize it a lot.
Transform keyframe it. I think you can just do it with two keyframes.
It's gonna be so much work to optimize that now. Oof.
You think so? I feel like the Santa was pretty low poly, no?
The rain
Oh,
piece,
well, but you could
I
do.
was so tired of optimizing. I was like, oh, that was a bad idea.
I mean, how old is the rain piece?
The
Is it
rain piece was so bad. I needed to rebuild the characters from scratch. I left
so?
the
Basically, you did it.
well, I left the lines, the drawing lines.
Oh, I see.
I left those, and then all the interior colors and all that. I had to restart from the beginning, man.
Oh, what happened to your subway station piece?
Same thing. It's taking me forever to optimize it, and I left it in
Hmm,
there.
I see.
Someday,
I love that piece.
thank you, man. Someday I will go back to it and finish it. But the optimization is taking me longer than I expected.
Remember my train piece? The train interior, the Japanese train with the robots. Remember
Oh
that one? That
shit.
big one, like where basically tons of robots are standing inside is taking the train, and it's like a train
Oh yeah,
interior.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oof, that was so
Yeah,
good,
like
man.
I was checking that, and I think it had like some like 17 million polygons or something, And I was
That was
like,
so good. I remember.
I
I remember it was included in Quill as an example.
no, it was in spaces. Remember, we could take the
Oh,
train together. That was the
oh
spaces time.
yeah,
Yeah, we took some selfies in there in the train.
yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Man, it's been so.
It feels like an eternity ago, right? But that's probably like 2.5 years or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I looked at it. Can I optimize it for Quest? And then I opened it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'd rather do something from scratch.
Sorry, guys. I'm going a little crazy here because I don't think these shadows are working the way I thought they would work. And also, I'm looking at that too much, and I shouldn't because the pose is completely different. So it should be more something like that. Should be more.
Because the knee is stretching the dress, right?
Yeah.
You're 15 minutes over right now. Just time check.
Okay. It's gonna be longer than 1 hour, guys. I'm sorry
I'm cool
about
with
that.
Fun to watch. No
What are you
reason
gonna
to be
do?
sorry. It's more like we're thankful.
If something comes out of this, it's gonna be a miracle.
It already looks really good, man.
And let's see. I'm trying to get this. I think this volumes.
Do we know if Quill has an update coming soon?
I have
There's
no
no
idea.
info on that.
It hasn't been updated in a while, no?
Maybe
been a
the
hot minute.
last one. Let me check when the last one. I think it was sometime in May, maybe. The pandemic totally destroyed the sense for time for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe that this year is almost over. Yeah, it was May 28th. It's not that long ago if you think about it. Now we're already in October. Holy crap.
I know. I can't believe I'm almost done. Well, yesterday they approved my last shot on Raya, guys.
Oh, congrats. That's
I'm
awesome.
pretty happy about that.
Does that mean you have more time now, or?
Well, they may give me new work next week, so that is a mystery for now. Because because officially the production is still until October 20. Well, the last week of October, basically.
So it could be that you get some extra shots and stuff.
It could be that I get some extra stuff, yeah. So I wouldn't sing Hallelujah yet, but very soon I'll be able to do more quill work.
You have to catch up with Inktober.
No
Already
way,
day 10.
man. No way. I'm not doing that, man. I'm sorry. It's just too much pressure, man. I'm getting pressure right now. But you know what? That's okay.
Well, hey, you're one down. If you do
Yeah.
hope, so.
But I won't be able to do this every day. That's the thing. I mean, I can do this. I can do this
There's
today.
still hope.
I get it. I get it.
Maybe instead
Okay.
you should do a really scary scene.
Submit it as a Halloween.
Yeah, I would like to do a Halloween scene. That's for sure.
I've yet to see anything that like truly scared me in the Quill Theater. Something that made me uncomfortable.
Oh, the Tyler Boo. That was kind of. I got a jump in there.
Tyler has the D&D one, right, with the ropes and the zombies in the water.
With the well.
Yeah, that one is kind of creepy. It doesn't have a jump scare though.
It's a little eerie because it feels like you're kind of dangling like a piece of meat.
Yeah.
Tyler,
I think the scariest thing I've experienced, I didn't play Half-Life Alyx, but the scariest thing I've experienced was Resident Evil in VR, on PSVR.
Oh, man.
Like, I did not like it. It was too realistic. It's like, the fear is real.
Yeah. Half-Life Alyx, man, that gives you some. Well, remember Tyler when I was playing live on? My god!
Yeah, you're playing through probably the scariest part of that game.
Yeah, it was a good coincidence that I decided to stream exactly on that moment.
Yeah, Jeff he was a big bad.
I gotta say quickly, sorry, Tyler. This is a happy accident, guys. this exactly what happened there. This intersection creates
Hmm.
this really cool contrast, and it looks like a cloth folding.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave it there because it's a happy accident.
Cool.
It's awesome.
Sorry. Yeah, keep going.
No, you're good. I was just
I just wanted to say that.
Jeff was giving me
Oh
some
yeah, Jeff.
amnesia vibes like way back in the day.
Yeah, Jeff is so scary, man.
I'm excited for is it like a sequel to Amnesia? What even is that game that they're making?
Amnesia, is that even a game? I didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a pretty old horror game that made the rounds on YouTube for a while. I know PewDiePie did a lot with it. I don't know if that was like what got him popular or if it was one of the things, but
He got popular by
Remember,
very
like
good.
streaming a lot, right?
early on when the Rift first came out, like the developers kit actually, they had this game called Affected.
Affected the manner or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. That one was scary, I have to say. Like that little girl that like sings, and then all of a sudden she's attached to your headset, and then she has no eyes and stuff. It was like
Ooh.
definitely traumatic experience. Like that was like because I was still fairly new to VR. I think that was back in 2015, and then you go through that manor. And you hear that girl singing, classic horror, right? Like psycho horror,
Why is it that a girl sing is so scary? That's
right?
why. It's so weird. Like it's something in our brains that is
Yeah.
scared of a girl singing.
It doesn't belong there.
I think, yeah, I think that's the
And
right.
it's
That's
always like a nursing, one of those nursing
like an
songs or
old
something.
hospital or like an old school. A little girl in a nightgown with her hair hanging in front of her face, singing. And there you have it. Best horror scenario.
I think the slight reverb usually when it happens to does a lot because I think if you took that out, it just kind of she'd just be there just humming or whatever. Like I
Yeah,
think
well, and the slight off pitchness, right? That she's not
yeah,
really on pitch.
Yeah. There's something about it.
but
I
just
mean,
enough wrong.
but like if I go to an abandoned school or something and I hear that voice even without reverb, I would still freak out.
Yeah, I remember discovering in high school that like reverb makes any song sound really creepy because I just randomly was just whistling the national anthem for no reason and walked in the bathroom and when the door shut I was like that sounds absolutely terrifying because it just echoes and it's creepy.
maybe you were
Nice.
voting.
That looks cool. That looks really cool, Daniel. The nose shadow.
Yeah, simple thing. I mean, the nose. Yeah, as long as it looks good from all angles and the contrast with the background, that's what's gonna make it, right? Let's make those
Yeah.
highlights that I wanna, like the highlights that they did over there.
You know what? I almost think you can go white with a dress. And even if the background is white, I think it would still read. But
Yeah, let's try. And the
I think it would look
highlights,
pretty awesome.
they should be flat probably. And then I'm gonna have. I think I'm gonna imitate a little bit what's going on over there. Mm, is that? Okay.
Okay.
A little thinner here. Talking about Star Wars before, has anybody tried Squadrons in VR?
I want to so bad.
It's amazing, man. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Oh my god! If you
like
really,
childhood dream come true.
yeah, especially for our generation, if you watch the original movies when you were a kid, uh, flying in these spaceships, just like it's so good, and the graphics are like incredible. In VR,
Which
it
one?
works really. Squadrons, Star Wars Squadrons in VR.
Gonna
It
try
really
this.
It's a
looks.
pretty new game.
Yeah, it came out pretty recently.
I mean, early
Yeah, I
on, I
think
tried the Eve Valkyrie, and
Yeah,
then
this one is pretty similar to that.
it did make me like Eve made me sick.
Yeah,
I have to say.
me too, Bill. But you know why? Because it was the beginnings of VR video games. I
So
feel
you
like if I,
think you're more resistant, or do you think they found a way to make it less vomit chamber like?
I'm more resistant. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
I only experienced resistance in me using Quill. So, I used to get a little bit sick when I was painting in Quill. I don't have
Oh,
that
really?
at all anymore. But then when I play like, games where you're being moved, I still feel uneasy and it still makes me sick all the time.
Really?
Like car games, racing games, I cannot. I
Oh,
just cannot play.
wow! Really?
Yeah.
That's actually
Yeah.
the best ones. Because they keep you kind of hooked in the cockpit, right? And
Well, I think the one that I played was Project Cars. And then I, of course, picked the Highway 1, I think, which has like a lot of winding roads. And then after like 5 minutes, I was ready to use the restroom.
yeah, that's crazy, man.
Make sure you save again. You're like 11:30 now. So half an hour over. You have time.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been really considering Squadrons because I love flying in video games, and I've been wanting to get like a really good flight simulator. I know Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, and they're apparently going to be adding Oculus support once they get done with the reverb or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Is that still a
Squadrons.
thing? Like flight simulators? I remember like in my teenage years it was like all about flight simulators. I haven't seen any in a while, but
Yeah, no, they just came out with one like what was it like a month or two ago, and
for
it's
VR
really
or for
pretty.
2D?
It's for 2D, but I think because it's a Microsoft thing, they're adding support for like it's gonna be a launch title. What is it? The Reverb, I think, is the new one.
Hmm.
The HP Reverb,
Yeah, yeah, but
the
I think
G2
they
or
said they're gonna
something
be
like that.
adding support to Oculus and other headsets eventually. They're just trying to kind of have that exclusivity with their new headset, so it'll be like a launch title of sorts.
I mean, these days they must look amazing, right? Because
Oh, it's really cool. It uses like actual satellite imagery and stuff,
Yeah,
and kind of like Google
oh,
Maps is
like Google Maps, yeah, Google Earth.
yeah, it's kind of projected like 3D renderings and stuff. So in some cities it looks really amazing, but if you were to fly where I live, it'd just be this big green blob of flat.
Yeah, depends
wow,
on the.
okay. Yeah, I remember, like all the simulator games, they used to be like super low poly, right? Back in the days.
Yeah,
Like
they
those,
look bad.
it's like Virtua Fighter 1.
Oh my god, that's really
Yeah,
old.
yeah. It was like polygon. They embraced the polygon
Yeah,
look.
yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
Leia looks really, really good.
Squadrons is not. Don't expect a simulator. It's not like realistic
Yeah,
in any
it
way.
didn't.
It's more similar to Star Fox, like a
Ooh,
arcade,
I love
Yeah.
like arcadey, flying game, shooting,
dude, Star Fox for was it
dogfighting.
for like
Yeah.
Nintendo 64 was
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Was so good.
Does
I l-
Squadrons have like actual content to it, or is it just pretty much like here's a tutorial, get an online play?
No, there's a story actually. There's a story, and
That's
it's pretty
cool.
good. I mean, well, so far what I've seen so far,
Yeah.
So
I think that was my worry. It was just going to be another, hey, welcome to this other competitive shooter.
it is a
Go play
comparative
ranked
shooter.
and-
Well, yeah, it is a little bit of that, but if you don't want that, you don't have to. There is a story.
Yeah.
So you're
story mode.
actually playing against others, like real
Yeah,
people.
yeah. If you want,
Oh.
yes.
There's a mode, I'm pretty sure.
And you can do against the machine if you want to practice. You can practice your skills with the computer.
Nice. Little cheek.
Shall I do? Yeah, we're just gonna do another one.
Now I really want Star Fox VR.
I think Squadrons is the closest thing to that. It's pretty fun, and they introduce you to this character. I feel like some of the characters are from the Clone Wars show that she was talking about. But yes, it's kind of nice. There's a storyline and there's some battles that you can do, and the feeling of flying and being in the cockpit on these spaceships is just so realistic. It's so cool.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
And to look
Is it
around your the other players to watch. Where is he going around?
It's basically like the real, like in Star Wars, but you're inside of it, right? So you can actually, I mean that's the immersive nature of it. That's so cool about VR that you can actually, I guess, relate to being an X-wing pilot or something.
Yeah. You can really see how stressing and difficult it is to actually fly these things and be on a battle and you have to be aware of the energy of your ship. You can transfer it to the shields or to the weapons. You have to manage a little bit your shield. Ooh, that's a little too hunch, yeah. A little too much hunchiness there. Maybe I forgot. Did I mess it up? Okay, that feels better.
Did you save?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking in.
Okay, I think I'm almost done. What time is it?
It's 11:33. Not too bad.
1 hour and a half.
Pretty impressive.
Hello, baby.
Any percent?
Any questions of anything that I've done that I was going too fast or anything?
Are you gonna try to make background and her interior white and see what it looks like?
Let me do. Hang on. What do you say? The background?
If you want the background and the dress white and see what it looks like if you make the dress white.
And the background white, I don't think it's gonna work.
But I don't know. I think your dress might be. You have the lines and the gray part.
Yeah, but the thing is, you won't be able to see. Well,
that's the thing I want to try. Like I think the easy way to do it is just set it to overlay your brush.
Oh yeah.
And just use white and just draw over that. It should maintain your blacks. But save before you do that.
Yeah. So overlay maintains your blacks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bam! Look at that.
It's awesome.
Hey.
You think it still
Actually,
works?
it's really good.
Crazy.
I
It
think
still
it
works.
totally works.
Oh, okay.
The only request I have is we just take the same body and we put War's head on it.
Okay. Okay, if you really want to,
Nah, man, you don't gotta.
I can do it. I just have to remember where I put the file of the Lorelei. I have no
This
idea where
looks
it is.
pretty
Oh,
like
hang on. I did something wrong. I did something. Oh, there you go.
How did that overlay brush work?
so overlay. What it does is it maintains. So basically, it makes light colors brighter and maintains it and makes the dark colors darker.
What
Right,
about if I
so-
want if I want the hair to be darker?
I think it should work because it's dark
Multiply?
enough. Try no, not multiply.
Overlay and then with black.
I
No.
think so. Yeah, because you have a little bit of shading in the face. I think
Yeah.
you can probably easily select the hair though. That's only like 5
Yeah.
strokes, right?
That's actually true.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 strokes.
Yeah. We can just go normal.
There
Boom.
you go. Look at that. Beautiful.
And there's a bit of lines that could be done here to define a bit more.
You can maybe also duplicate the arm, right, and make the backside black.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let's see. I was gonna do the definition for the fingers.
Yeah.
Because that's really important to really see that pose. And the contact shadows too, they're very important. Contact with the gun.
Ambient occlusion.
Yeah. So these little contact things are super important. And then what I try to avoid is this to see these lines there. So if it doesn't need it, I won't do it. But yeah, if I do the trick here with having that stream shadow there, that kind of solves the problem of you can still have this kind of line, contour line. It looks like a contour.
It's like a real light, right? So
yeah, like a rim light, but it's actually a contour, and it acts as a. You can use it as if it was a contour line, basically. So that's what I did for Conan. Something very similar to this. But yeah, having the white background against the white finger doesn't really work. So that's why I'm thinking just having the background a little bit lighter. Well, I was thinking to maybe use some cool.
Oh yeah, your glow, the Daniel glow,
the Peixe glow.
Peixe glow.
And then go back to white for the background and see if that.
Nice.
Okay. There you go. So that way you can see the fingers better, at least if you're in front of her. The problem with this is if you can't turn around. You have to.
Well, you could do the back and forth ping pong camera spawn area.
No.
So. Will you share this? Like, I would love to see this in VR, like later. Doesn't have to be now, but
yeah,
this is totally worth watching in VR.
All right, so thank you everybody for watching and hanging out with me and kind of doing like a little quill and chill drawing and chatting. I think this is a lot of fun, and I have fun building this character live for everybody to see. So awesome! So I'm gonna stop the recording right now, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. This was
Thank you,
awesome.
everybody.
Don't forget to save maybe as an extra file, but.